strangest thing. It's shorter than you think. No think. Longing is the music of our sphere. The gift of life is never more or less. It starts at any time you like and ends in just a wink. Pass me the light, baby.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to the Daily Examiner. Welcome to Stakeout. I hope that you have all had a fantastic week. Hope you've had a fantastic day. Hopefully, wherever you are, you're enjoying some sunshine at last. It's been a little while, but we finally managed to get a little bit this weekend, so that's awesome. Hey, we just want to acknowledge you if you have been affected by the flooding or slips caused by Cyclone Gabrielle. We hope you guys are doing okay out there tonight. First of all, if you are in need of assistance or you need any information regarding whatever, do reach out because we'd love to help. Some of our team are on the ground in the Hawke's Bay, and so yeah, if you can reach out to us, info@thedailyexaminer.co.nz, or message us on Facebook, that would be really cool. Hey, before we get started tonight, I'd just like to acknowledge that 11 people have passed as a result of these devastating circumstances that Hawke's Bay and West Auckland are facing. So our thoughts are with them. Especially our thoughts go out to the families and friends of the firefighters who have lost their lives. They were volunteers, and unfortunately the firefighting service in New Zealand is undervalued, underfunded by the government, so it is a very tragic situation. that these lives have been lost, and we do thank them for their service, and our thoughts and prayers are with the family and friends and also with the wider fire service. Hey, we were meant to have Chantelle Baker on with us tonight. Unfortunately, she's unable to make it because she's been working flat tack over the past few days. But we will be getting her on the show hopefully next week or a bit later on. But I promise we will get her on at some point to have a chat. But thank you for joining us anyway. As I said, on the ground, we do have some of the Daily Examiner team in the Hawke's Bay. So I'd like to welcome on Liao, who is there now. Hey, Liao. Oh, she has just gone. Never mind. We'll get her back in a minute. We'll get an update from her. Also with Elliot Ikile, who's from the Daily Examiner. They are working with an Auckland church who's gone down to help out down there. I think Liao is back now.
Here I am.
Just wait for that to load. Hey, how are you? Good to see you.
Hey, Dave. Hey, everyone. I'm sorry, it was a bit wonky because I'm using my phone at the moment.
Oh yeah. How's the connection down there?
It's average. It's not like Auckland, but nothing is really.
At least they've managed to get something up. So first of all, do you want to give us a quick situation update on what's going on? Down in the Hawke's
Dave.
Bay?
Sure. So when you come into Napier, you can go to a suburb, and it's a beautiful day today. You can go into a suburb and there'll be a family out on their bikes because there's some parts that have no power, and it will seem like a normal day. You can go to another suburb and completely flooded out. So there is, it's got a kind of an eerie feeling down here in Napier because a lot of the shops are closed. You can't go for gas, only for emergency services. So a lot of, that something drastic has happened down here in Napier. So yeah, just been, people are coping as well as they can, but, I don't think they've ever had anything like this before. And we took a drive to some of the places that the roads were closed, but they allowed us to go through. I'm not going to tell you how, but we were able to go through and get to see the devastation of some of these places.
So is it affected quite localized, different areas down there?
Yeah, that's right. So a lot of some of the places, so here in the church that I'm based at, we've got power and we've got water, which is amazing because what they've done is they've makeshift, because there's no power, there's no traffic lights. But what they've done, which is incredibly intuitive, is they've made makeshift roundabouts. So everyone knows. Yeah, it's amazing. I should have actually took some photos of that. Maybe tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's roundabouts there's some roundabouts at every point.
Have they got have they got people directing traffic, or they just
No.
Oh, that's cool.
It's quite small. It's not like Auckland.
So as you enter into the Hawke's Bay area, there's obviously a lot of vineyards. It's quite beautiful. You sent through this image. I'm assuming that is farmland, or some sort of agriculture area. So that's just completely devastated.
It's completely devastated, and that goes on for quite a long time. Which I think I sent you a video. On one side, just logs. There are logs everywhere, and the other side, it's this. It looks like this.
So this is actually going to have a major effect on the entire country. This is not just something that's going to affect Hawke's Bay, because obviously Hawke's Bay is one of the major fruit producing regions in the country, one of the major wine producing regions in the country. So it's actually going to have a major economical impact. Is that largely the same effect across the whole Hawke's Bay area that you've seen?
Yeah. Yes.
So it is devastating, absolutely devastating, not just for Hawke's Bay locals, but for everybody.
Yeah, we still, as we went for a drive, there were still people out there trying to just shovel, debris and just, it's at every turn. And so you go, where do I fit in this whole scheme of things? And so we have found a base here in Bay Baptist Church in Napier. And today, as we started to bring in things, we bought 2 trucks down from Auckland to help with some of these areas, Dave, that we can't even get to at the moment. That people have just lost all their horses, they've lost their farmland, their farm. We saw some piles of dead sheep.
That's tragic.
The places that they can't even get to right now. They're just crying out for the basics like water and food. So so we came down here to basically run what we did at Aranui Baptist Community Care. And if you're okay, I just want to show you the incredible generosity, especially from people from Waikato. And there was a huge truck that came, as well as Alwyn as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can turn this around. Actually, I can't, but I'm gonna turn my camera around, and I'll just start from the beginning where. So this is a huge auditorium that I'm in. So I'll just start from here. Okay. So we bought these gas bottles and we filled them up for people. So I'll just start going through here. We've got, we have cans, we have soup.
We may have just lost Liao there. The connection is a bit patchy. We'll see if we can get her back on. But it is fantastic what Liao and Elliot and the rest of the team from Ranui Baptist and all the others who donated. Oh, here we go. Welcome back.
Oh, sorry. Did I disappear?
Yeah. I think, your connection is a bit patchy, but we got about half of it.
Okay. So if I just turn this around, this is what was donated today.
Wow. And so that's all come down from Auckland and Waikato?
Yeah, Auckland and Waikato.
That's fantastic.
Amazing. We're just amazed at the blessings that have come down, and all of them have been organized. So they've all sorted it out. They are in bags. So hopefully my team. I just wanted to show you one more thing, Dave.
Yeah,
so this is these are the ladies' clothes. We did a call out for pet food, and a place up in Auckland, Pet Direct, they gave us a pallet of premium dog and cat food.
Oh, that's awesome. Shout out to them.
Yeah, guys. Amazing. So we're sitting here just like, wow, this is amazing. So we're going to try and figure out what's the best way to help, whether it is to go out to the communities and find out what the needs are, and then pack them in containers and send them out to them.
That's really awesome.
Sorry.
That's really awesome, mate. Good on you guys for doing that, and I'm really proud of you guys and that our team has managed to be down there helping out. That's really good. Just tell us a little bit, because obviously the Hawke's Bay was, as we understand, basically completely cut off in the immediate aftermath of the flooding and the slips. What was it like for you guys getting down there? How have you managed to get down there? How are you distributing the food?
Sure.
And the products? Yeah.
So what we did was we took 8.5 hours. Or actually, we ended up staying in Fielding because we stayed the night, because we had 2 trucks, and they were quite slow. It was slow because it was hard, sort of yakka driving them. So we had 2 trucks and a ute. we stopped in Fielding. We made the decision to stay the night, and then we came in the morning and drove another 2.5 hours, stopped in Dannyburg, and then we made our way here. We came to the Baptist church, and they were having church in the morning, and so we went for a drive to see what the other places looked like. And so the video I just sent you, and also along the beach line, there were people actually just trying to help each other in a really beautiful way. And so what I'm going to do tomorrow with the team is think about how we can distribute this. There's a school up the way that the bridge has flooded over, but you can drive a four-wheel truck over there. So if we can fill it up with water, with the bare necessities, even we've got a gas bottle, so we've got lots of those ring barbecue cookers. We can take some up there for them to cook, bulk meals for the people there. So we're going to find just local places that we feel we will have a team here that can make shift a sort of like an op shop, or a place that people can come get some bedding, clothing, and have something warm to eat, and also find a team that we can have to go out and take meals, take the necessities, and as the things come in, we'll just keep sending them out. Not sure how long I'm going to be here, but
Oh, that's really awesome. Hey, we're going to get to Mel's comment in a second about the looting. Obviously, it's something that's been talked about. But before we do, quickly, is there any way that people are able to help? Do you still need donations, or what can we do from a distance?
So we've got a dedicated sort of Daily Examiner account. If you just put Napier on it, I'm sure we can redistribute it down here. Or bringing. The roads are clear now, so it will be finding a place really that you'd want to send it to. But at the moment, I think it's really about the basics that they probably need, and I'm not sure. Tomorrow, I get to meet with all the local pastors of Napier, and then I'll be able to express to them. I might be able to give you a clearer picture as to how to donate, and maybe we can all connect together as to how we can help people around here.
Awesome. Yeah. We'll keep that posted up on our page, so do follow our Facebook page. And as Leo mentioned, you can donate, I guess, to our bank account, to the Daily Examiner, but make sure you do tag that with flood response or Napier or something, so that we are aware and we can help pass it on, or buy purchase goods to help where it's needed. Hey, I'm going to bring up Mel's comment here. Have you witnessed all the crime and the looting? Now, big stories going around, obviously, of pretty wild criminal activity going on, looting, stories of residents arming themselves to defend against looters. Pretty horrible thoughts that people would be taking advantage of a situation like that. Have you noticed it, or have you spoken to locals who've been affected by this?
No, not at all. We've got a team of islanders, so good luck. No, I'm kidding. we've got jandals. We came armed. No, we haven't. we haven't seen any of that down here, Mel. And maybe it's the area that we're in. I think what I heard today was, because the power came on, people were able to. It didn't become so much of a panic, because when you're without power and without internet, you can really feel isolated. And I think a lot of the panic comes from people who, what do I do? What do I do? And so they can just become pretty cray-cray and, start to think, the only way I can do this is to loot, but I haven't seen any yet. And we've got so much here at the church. I think one of the things was about generators. That was the thing that was, I think, was most looted. But now the power is starting to come on around Napier. I think it's become less of a problem. But no, I haven't seen it yet. Hope I don't get to see it. You just always address these with a,
Yeah.
mama's heart. Come and
Yeah, no,
have something
fair
to
enough.
eat. Come and, whatever you need from here.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Hey guys, if you are in need, looting's
Mm.
not the way to go. There's places that can help. As you will have just seen in Liao's video, there's plenty of assistance available. So please do reach out and get help. Otherwise, Liao will come and find you with her jandal.
I
Um,
will. I have no
um,
problems doing that.
Ryan said there's still thousands of people missing who haven't been able to be contacted. What's sort of happening down there?
Mm.
Is there a lot of military? A lot of is it fire service there trying to help? What's going on with that?
So when we did a drive around there, the chairs are coming in. So you know what? I don't think you should listen to mainstream media. I just think that there's a lot of fear mongering going. Today outside, like I said, there was a family, on their bikes because there's obviously, you know, they were off on their bikes going on a family trip. And so we're just like, oh, that's bizarre. And then you go to another, part of town and there's people outside sweeping debris and, maybe needing help. But there is a lot of community connections, which is not what I see in Auckland at all until something drastic happened. So people come together and they're talking. You can stop a car by the side of the road and talk to people and ask them if they're okay. It's
Oh,
it's really
that's
quite
awesome.
different down here. Yeah,
Oh, that's cool. I won't I won't keep you too long, Leo. But is there anything
that's
else
fine.
you'd like to say
Um,
before we move on?
I just think if there's any way that you can help, even if it's something little, even if it's you checking on your own neighbors, and just or even getting to know them, because in an emergency, you might be home, and so it's good for you to get to know your neighbors. If that's all you do, then you know it's a good start towards having a community spirit. But yeah, we'll keep you updated, Dave, as to what we're doing here. And yeah, so thank you for having me in the show. I'm sorry I'm not as good looking as Chantelle, but definitely more interesting. All right.
You want to come on next week when she's on as well? You guys can have a chat to each other. That'd
Oh
be great.
yeah, we'll just put you in the corner, the little corner, and her and I can speak.
I won't be able to get a word in edgeways, but we'll see. That will be.
Wow. Did you just hear that? The rest of you just hear that? Yeah. Okay. No, thanks for having me, Dave.
All right, no, thanks very much, Leo, and we will stay in touch with you and keep you guys
Yeah.
updated on what's happening down there throughout
Cool.
the week. Thanks, Leo. Have a
All right.
great
Bless
night.
you
Stay
guys.
safe.
Yeah.
Cheers. All right, that's awesome to have Leo from the Daily Examiner with us. Do stay tuned to our Facebook and our social pages because Leo will do her show, I believe, some night this week if she's available. Obviously, depending on internet connection and what's happening down there. Tim, has New Zealand accepted the help of Australia or the UK? If not, why not? I believe the other day I saw that they had officially reached out to Australia and made a formal request for help. So I think that is happening as far as I'm aware. Hey, just back to the looting thing. It's not on, eh? It's really not on. If you need help, reach out for help. But taking advantage of people who've lost everything, who've lost loved ones, who've lost property, yeah, get a life. That's not really cool. That's not the way we are. As Liao said, there is an incredible community spirit down there, so don't be that guy who detracts from that. Join in, see how you can help. You'll get some help in return. It's a community. Yeah. Deanna says that there is a team from Australia there already. Oh, that's awesome. So it's good to see that there is help. Now, big discussion. What's caused this? Is it just a normal cyclone that we get every now and again? Is it a 100-year cyclone that's a bit rare? Is it climate change? It is a bit disheartening to see the climate alarmists taking advantage of this situation to push their agenda. Okay, like, at least wait a week, wait 2 weeks before you start posting and pushing that on everyone. And I'm not a climate change expert. I'm not a meteorologist. So this is not me giving answers. The point of this show is to get people asking questions, to do research and to find answers. So my understanding of what at least the climate change crowd are pushing and the ideas that they propagate are that climate change is a slow, gradual thing of the world warming up, the sea levels slowly rising over decades, centuries. It's not a sudden thing that happens immediately. Over the last 3 years, before the last 3 summers, we've been having major droughts. And of course, that got blamed on climate change. But now we're having a cyclone, and it's the wettest summer on record. Even before the cyclone came through, we had rain through most of January. Is that climate change? And put your thoughts in the comments, because I would like to understand better. I think we'd all like to understand better. Is it climate change if we go from droughts and dams running low, having water restrictions, to the wettest summer on record? Or is it some other trigger event? I mean, cyclones aren't abnormal. We do have tropical neighbors, and every now and then a cyclone does make its way down. This one's been pretty bad. It's been a direct hit. A lot of the cyclones that come through don't actually hit us, so we don't see it. There's a lot of cyclones that miss New Zealand, and this is just one of the ones that's happened to hit. So they are more common than the media tries to make up. We've just been unfortunate enough to be hit this time. In January 2022, there was a massive underwater eruption in Tonga. Now, when that happened, meteorologists predicted that we would get a wet summer because of it. This was immediately after the Tongan volcano. And there's the evidence there of meteorologists guaranteeing a flooded summer for the Australian East Coast. We're quite close to the Australian East Coast, and you'll remember in October of last year that Melbourne and Victoria had some major flooding, which was a result, or possibly a result, of the Tongan eruption. Because when the volcano in Tonga exploded, it pushed a bunch of water up into the stratosphere. Now, some sources say that since the eruption, there's been a 20% increase in the quantity of water in the stratosphere over Australia. Now, that's obviously got to come down at some point. So, obviously, this is now very convenient for the climate alarmists to suddenly say, oh, the flooding has been caused by climate change, when a year ago, meteorologists were saying, no, this is going to happen. But they're conveniently ignoring that now. And in fact, one climate alarmist, or some of them, were claiming we're going to have more droughts this summer. So they don't really know what they're talking about, as far as I'm aware. But once again, I say I'm not a meteorologist. I'm not a climate expert. Oh, that's crack up. This is HARP showing what they can do. I don't think HARP's real. I mean, yeah, that's quite funny. Yeah. Anyway, not only is climate change, only is the narrative not consistent with what they're saying, either it's droughts or it's floods. They can't even make up their own mind, as far as I'm aware. But to me, more the issue is that it is so disrespectful and disingenuous and just plain offensive to farmers. To try and blame farmers, because that's who they have a go at. It's obviously carbon emissions from vehicles and farmers. Farmers are the backbone of Hawke's Bay, as we've seen that photo that we just had up before of the devastated farmland. Farmers have lost everything. And the first thing that not only the media, but MPs, ministers of parliament, who are meant to be the representatives of the people, the first thing that they do is jump on the climate change bandwagon and blame farmers for what's happening. They're taking advantage of a devastating situation to push their climate change agenda. Even if it is caused by climate change, the last thing that farmers need now is more stress, more pressure, more blaming from the government. They need support. I would love to hear from some Hawke's Bay farmers, if there are any listening, or if you know any farmer in the Hawke's Bay who's been affected. What are their thoughts on this? What are their thoughts on the government having a go at the backbone of our economy, the people who keep this country running, and blaming them for this devastation? I think it's shocking. Tracy said the bread basket was washed out to sea. Yeah, absolutely. And like I say, this is not affecting just only the Hawke's Bay region. This is affecting all of New Zealand. Our economy is already suffering, and it's going to suffer more as a result of this. Major fruit production, major wine production in the Hawke's Bay, which goes worldwide, exports, devastated. I don't know how long it's going to take to rebuild it. But this is to our farmers. We appreciate you. We're horrified at what's happened to your land. We're thinking of you, and we want to help if we can. I don't know how we can help, but like I say, I'd love to get a farmer on the show if possible, who can talk about this, talk about how they've been affected, what they need. I saw a comment earlier, Eddie, 33 million sent to Ukraine. I can't verify these numbers, but I do know that we have, as a country, sent millions to the Ukraine, and only 2 mil for the Hawke's Bay. What is wrong with our country that we can't look after our own backyard? We can't look after our own kids. We can't feed our own people. But we prioritize somebody else's war. I'm not against overseas charity. I'm not against helping overseas where there is a crisis, but we must look after our own backyard first. How can you look past people suffering in your own country and just for political, I don't know, it's a political stunt is what it is. I don't know. It makes me upset. It does. Look after your own people, government. I don't think this is going to help the government very well in the next election, so maybe that's a good thing. If we get rid of them, I guess. We need a change from the Labour Party. Of course, this is a completely unbiased show. Yeah. What are your thoughts? Do you think that this is going to affect the outcome of the election? What do you reckon? Because in 2020 election, the entire South Island, every electorate, I believe, of the South Island went red, went to Labour, which is very surprising, I think, because generally the South Island, as a more rural area, would have gone national. So it is interesting that the farmers seem to have voted for Labour, but I wonder if that's going to change this year, just because of the amount of flack that the farmers get from our government, especially from the climate parties, the Green Party, people in the Labour, even some in National. Chris Luxon seems to be on the climate train as well. And I'm not saying that climate's not important. We do need to look after our planet. But there are more immediate pressing matters. Will farmers revolt at this election? What are your thoughts? Who are you going to vote for at this upcoming election? Put it in the chats. I genuinely don't know who I'm going to vote for, but as I say, this show is not a place where I try to give answers. It's a place where I like to create discussion. It's a place where I like to make people think, make people ask questions, do research, create discussions among your friends. Joseph Webby, is there any difference between the two parties? I assume you're talking about National Labour. Not in the polls anyway. The last poll that came out was 34-34, I think. But yeah, Chris Luxon doesn't seem to be very far removed from Labour Central. Obviously, you've got the left wing of Labour, and then you've got the centre faction of Labour, and then you've got the centre left of National. They seem to be pretty closely aligned. So yeah, I don't see a lot of difference between them in a lot of ways. Sandy says she's voting for Matt King of Democracy New Zealand. Matt King, a friend of the show. Good dude. We know that. He's pro-farmer. He was a farmer, was a police officer. So definitely one to look at supporting. Caroline says she's voting for NNP, New National Party. I can't even remember exactly what the name's called. Here's the issue. We've got Democracy NZ. We've got the New National Party. We've also got the New Conservative Party. We've got the Outdoors Party. We were going to have Chantelle Baker on tonight. She'll be on later, as I mentioned, and we might ask her about this, but I have seen rumours going around of Leighton Baker, former leader of the New Conservative Party, Chantelle's father, looking at running this election. We've got the Freedom and Rights Coalition. Brian Tamaki's party, Vision NZ, which I imagine will be linked to the Freedom and Rights Coalition at this election. Here's the issue. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then if Advance NZ's still around, 6 parties, which all hold some similar core values, right? They're pro-freedom, pro-democracy. They don't believe, for the most part, I believe in race-based policies. They believe in farmers. They believe in our economy. They believe that we need to have farmers and agriculture to be supported in the best way possible in order for our country to run properly. Here's the thing. We've got 5 or 6 parties who all hold these core values. And the way some of them polling, Democracy NZ is 1%, New Conservative Party 1.5%. Advance New Zealand got, I believe, nearly 1% at the last election. Altogether, they'll be polling above 5%. At this rate, none of them are getting into Parliament. None of them. I know that Matt King is campaigning based on him winning the Northland electorate because he was the Northland MP when he was part of the National Party. I genuinely don't see that happening because it's very rare, if ever, that a politician has won their electorate without being in Parliament. I would have to I'd have to check on that, and I'm happy to be corrected if it has happened before, but I struggle to see that happening. What I'm saying is, we've got 5 or 6 parties polling around the 1% mark. right? That's 5-6%. They all hold the same core ideas, but they refuse to talk to each other. Caroline's right. All the small parties need to work together under one umbrella, because then they would cross that 5%. Now, obviously, we had issues with the last election and every election where there is splinter parties, where people say, well, I'm not going to vote for this small party because my vote is going to be wasted. They're not going to get the 5%, so I'm not going to vote for them. I'm going to vote for the lesser of two evils out of National or Labour, or maybe ACT. ACT like the lesser of three evils. ACT has got some good things, but yeah, still the lesser of three evils. I don't understand why they refuse to unite. A lot of these parties were formed out of the Wellington protest earlier last year. That's formed these splinter parties. So they were formed from a united idea, but then they split off because some of them have slightly fringe views. Here's the thing. To these parties, this is what I say. For the better of the country, you need to lose the policies that 90% of voters don't care about. Forget about 5G, right? Forget about whether they're putting microchips in vaccines. Forget about 1080. There might be some merit to those beliefs or those views. There absolutely might be. But you win an election campaigning that 5G is causing cancer or controlling your mind. You cannot win an election based on the fact that you think that there are microchips and vaccines. Maybe there are. Who knows? But that is not a campaign policy that's going to win you elections. What you need to campaign on and what you need to unite around are those core policies of freedom, democracy, and one law for us all, not race-based policies. Unite around supporting the farmers, unite around supporting those who grow our economy, who back our economy, who are the backbone of our economy. So I don't know, what would you guys think? Would you be interested in potentially getting some of these guys on to the show? Brian Tamaki, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Leighton Baker, Matt King, getting them to have a chat to each other. See, maybe we could ask them straight up why they won't unify. What's going on? Can you guys put some comments in why aren't they uniting? What is it that's holding them back? And if I know that some of you will be thinking of voting for these parties, or if you're not, would you vote for these parties if they united? And I want to throw a left field thing out there as well. Left field idea. New Zealand First polling just under 5%. At this point, they're not going to get into Parliament. Now, we know Winston has done silly things in the past and fooled us, betrayed people who voted for him, went with the Labour government. But he does, the New Zealand First at least claims to, in principle, hold to these same policies as well. Pro-freedom, democracy, non-race-based policies, pro-farmer. So, could he join with them? I'm not going to vote for New Zealand First alone because you can't trust them. But if he was able to be held accountable by a bunch of smaller parties that would unite, I wonder if that could be a situation, because that would be almost guaranteed to get across that 5% mark. I don't know, just a thought. What are your guys' thoughts? Tim says, one example, difficult for me to vote Matt King as he's pro-abortion. I'd have to look into that. I didn't realize that he was. But even so, this is an example, right? I'm completely anti-abortion. I hate abortion. I hate the idea of it. I hate everything about it. But is one... Yeah, abortion is a difficult one, eh? It really is for me. Thanks for bringing that up. I'm going to research that. I might even have a chat to Matt about it. Abortion aside, is one thing that you disagree with enough to stop you voting for someone? Or can we look past our smaller differences for the good of the country to get a somewhat good or better than the current status quo into Parliament? What these parties need to do is decide on the core values and unite around a leader that's not, for want of a better word, Trumpy, because, Trump did some fantastic things and he did some stupid things. But they need to ditch the controversial leaders. Brian Tamaki, for instance, has a lot of good things to say. He really does. I agree with like 95% of what Brian says politically. But because he's so controversial, people won't unite around him. So what these guys need to do is put egos aside and find someone who is level-headed, who's balanced, who can appeal to a large number of people, to the 90% instead of the 5% on either side, and throw their support behind them. Sandy says, no way Matt should unite with those fringe parties. Okay. Fair enough. But democracy in New Zealand is not getting into Parliament. Let's be real. They're polling at 1%. Parties outside of Parliament, new parties don't get in. Potentially, maybe in this political scenario that we're in now, because of the division that's been caused by the Labour government, if there was one or maybe two parties that were running on freedom values, they could get into Parliament. But like I say, there's 5, 6, even 7 splinter parties who are literally just splitting the vote. So their only way forward is to unite. The only way forward. That's my opinion, at least. Anyway, it'd be interesting to have this discussion in future with some of these leaders. We could definitely get Matt King on. We could try and get Leighton Baker on. That would be cool. Leighton's a good dude. Chatted to him before. He is a solid guy. It's unfortunate he wasn't able to get in with the new Conservative Party. But maybe we'll have a chat to Chantelle hopefully next week. She might be able to give us some insight on that. Be good to get her thoughts on as well. Well, let's try and get a few of these guys on. It'd be cool. Maybe get some of the people from the current new Conservative Party. I've spoken to them. Not quite sure what's going on in that party. I don't think that they're going to get anywhere. Just my opinion. Yeah. Anyway, we're drawing to the end of our session tonight. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you for keeping me company. Thank you for your thoughts. Thank you for giving your feedback. I hope that you guys have learned something tonight. I hope that we've been able to exercise our brains a little bit, been able to think outside the box. Continue to have discussions with your friends, with your family. That's the whole point of this show, to make us think, to make us dig around, research, ask questions, step outside of our own boxes. If you do have thoughts for next week's show, we are going to try and get Chantelle on hopefully next week or in the near future. So if you have questions, do send them through. Stakeout is your show. Make it a conversation by sending your thoughts, ideas, and opinions. Put it in the comments, or you can tweet at me during the week. I'm pretty active on Twitter, at the Dave Robson, Also at at Daily Examiner NZ. Use the hashtag Stakeout. Follow me on Twitter because a lot of the things that we talk about on the show, I tweet about during the week. So we can start a discussion on Twitter. Twitter's a great place since Elon took it. I find it fantastic. Always lively discussion going on there. So jump on, follow me, follow the Daily Examiner. And let's keep this thing going, eh? Thank you guys for joining me. Hope you guys are having a great night. Hopefully you're going to continue to have a great night. If you are in the Hawke's Bay or West Auckland, if you've been affected, do stay safe. We're thinking of you. Do reach out. As I said, get in touch through our Facebook page. Our people are down there. Email us, info@dailyexaminer.co.nz. Stay tuned. Our people will be updating from Hawke's Bay throughout the week. Cheers, guys. Have an awesome night. Have an awesome week. Stay safe. Stay blessed. God bless you all. See you next week, Sunday at 8.